So hello everyone, I'm Coda and welcome to the channel. So today's content is going to be a little bit different than usual, and I'd really like your feedback on whether or not you like this, because I'm still, as I said in that last video, I'm sort of looking at what direction I want to go with the channel. So I'd really like your input on whether or not I should do more just covers and music stuff and less talking, or more of this kind of stuff, maybe wavering a little bit from music and more talking about other stuff in the furry fandom. So it would be really, really helpful if you had an opinion on that, for you to comment that below. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the topic of the video. So as I said, this one's a little bit different than the content that I usually post, and that is talking about the Netflix series Tiger King. So I got this idea actually from a tweet that Dr. Wildlife made. She's a super cool person, big furry personality. Check her out everywhere. She has a Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and a YouTube channel too. I'll link that below. But yeah, check her out. So if you don't know, Tiger King is a really popular Netflix series right now, and it is one of the most unusual and strange and outlandish documentaries that I have ever seen. So if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend checking out at least a part of the first episode. Feel free to stop watching it if you don't like it. It can get somewhat overwhelming. So basically all you need to know for this is that this series outlines these two primary characters. Two primary characters. And they are the zoo owner Joe Exotic from Oklahoma and animal rights activist Carol Baskin from Florida. And really, anyone who is interested in the welfare of animals knows that there's no debate. I mean, everyone who knows one single thing about tigers would want to see them return to their wild natural habitat. So what you have to realize is that these are not the real two sides of this story. So here I want to rewind a little bit. I am involved in the International Baccalaureate program at my school, and I am taking the Environmental Systems and Societies class within that program. And basically what we have to do is something called an internal assessment, which is this massive project which has a whole bunch of requirements. But basically all you need to know is that I wrote a massive paper on the conservation status of the world's rarest cat, the Amur leopard. So throughout that project I learned a huge amount about how big cat conservation happens in general. So from that knowledge, what I sort of became aware of as I was watching this is that nothing pictured here is actual conservation. The truth is that Carol is sort of doing the same thing as Joe. So Carol ultimately does run a zoo. What she does is she buys big cats from private owners and allows them the space and the ability to live out the rest of their lives in relative comfort. Now don't get me wrong, this is a good practice. This is helping to reduce the captive tiger population in America, which is a good thing because the captive tiger population in America is way too high. Now the problem is that she's portrayed as doing animal conservation, which is not what she's doing. So what is only mentioned briefly in this documentary is that Carol Baskin gains heavy support from the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA. So most people who have been in the furry fandom for a little while have heard of PETA and the absolutely ghastly things that they do. Now I'm not going to go into it too far here, but check out a video right here by Odin, who goes fantastically into all the sick and twisted things that this horrible organization does. If you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. Go watch the video. So let's get back to the question at hand. Who is the good guy here? Who are we supposed to root for in this documentary? And I think the problem with how the public has perceived this documentary is that they're asking that question in the first place. Because really, the answer is no one. So I've seen many people arguing about which side is better, or which side is more right, or which side is more wrong, or which side is just more horrible in general. So really, these people miss the point. So this documentary wasn't about giving you the information so that you could stand on one side or the other of this debate. As we already discussed, there is no debate. Anyone in their right mind supports tiger conservation and all the amazing work that organizations that do conservation do. What this documentary is doing is it's showing this fight. It's showing this pointless throwing of just piles and piles of garbage on each other, and ultimately how this whole long pointless fight destroys the very thing that they're arguing about, the tigers. You see, because nothing that's been done in this documentary benefits the tigers at all. Nothing is for the tigers' benefit. It's all for just the owners benefit and the owners fighting each other. So if you're actually interested in tigers and saving this wonderful species and other species of big cats, what can you do? How can you actually make a difference? So I would suggest making a donation to World Wildlife Fund, IUCN, or any other national or international organization dedicated to the conservation of animals. So because of that project that I mentioned earlier, I made a donation to World Wildlife Fund to symbolically adopt an Amur leopard. This was a decision that I made personally, and I would really love to encourage you all to support organizations like this that help conservation as well. So as I mentioned, World Wildlife Foundation, IUCN, those are all good ones to just generally donate to. There are also other specific ones for big cats and not big cats. Red Panda Network is another one that I know does amazing work. So yeah, I would strongly encourage you, if you're interested in wildlife conservation, to make a donation either yearly or just a one-time thing through one of these organizations. So the other thing that you can do is also investigate the zoos and wildlife sanctuaries that you frequent. Look into their policies, see how they obtain their animals, especially the big cats, because they are the most vulnerable and the most prone to trafficking and other questionably legal sources. And ensure that if you do decide to keep supporting them, that they're obtaining their tigers and other animals in legal and ethical ways. And as a reminder, while these wildlife centers are helpful in reducing the number of captive tigers, they aren't directly contributing to wildlife conservation unless they're making things like donations. The problems of private big cat ownership in America and the overall conservation of tigers are very different and require very different solutions. And as a reminder, keep in mind while supporting wildlife conservation that the end goal of every conservation society should be restoring a natural population to its original form. Because ultimately this will be the only way to truly save these animals. For as long as we have them in captivity, they will never truly be saved. Well, this one was a little bit different, wasn't it? So I would really like your feedback about whether or not you like this kind of video and whether or not you want to see this again. Leave those comments down below. And if you're new here, my name's Coda, and I usually do down-tempo electronic music and cover all my production and stuff through technique videos and different videos featuring instruments and other things like that. So if you're interested in more music-related content, definitely check out the other videos and subscribe below. If you're not interested, well, still subscribe anyway, because I'll probably do stuff like this again. And I would really, really love your support. So thank you so much. Like the video, subscribe, as I said, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.